Good afternoon and jumbo. I hope that you're all having a fabulous Wednesday morning so far. My name is Kerry Dupree and I'll be joining you this morning here live at the Waterhole. Just a reminder that this is a live and interactive experience, so please feel free to send through your questions and comments. Today I'm going to have some questions and comments of myself that I'll be sending through to our viewers of the festive season and some other holidays that we have had with us. So yeah, don't forget to send those questions and those comments, join in the conversation today. So we have started over in the Serengeti with some baboons, up to nonsense most likely. Look at these baboons go. I don't know what is more mischievous, a troop of naughty little children or a troop of young baboons, always getting up to all kinds of mischievous things. Good afternoon, leopard lover, and a happy Wednesday to you too. Thank you for joining us. We've got another comment from Claire Cat. Says good morning Claire Cat. Thank you for joining us. Always lovely to be here. I've got my cappuccino with me. Always a lovely little treat to have some coffee, a cup of tea, something to entertain you, keep you busy while you're watching live at the Waterhole. I know during the festive season we have some of our viewers that are also busy wrapping Christmas presents while they are watching live at the Waterhole. So I'm glad we could keep you well entertained during this festive season. Well, our baboons seem to have disappeared, so let's head across to Safari Hook over in South Africa, or over in Namibia, and see what's happening in another part of Africa. Alrighty, well, you can see quite a contrast in the different locations at the moment. Some of our locations are receiving rainfall or have received a little bit of rainfall, whereas Namibia still looking pretty dry, pretty bleak. Hopefully they get some rains sometime soon. We've got some wildebeest, our brindle, the gnu, and some gemsbok. Lots of namakwa doves also at the water's edge. Had a lot of namakwa doves that were here yesterday, and we were also blessed with the sighting of a black stork. Seems to be a good spot for a black stork. I don't know if it's one resident individual that seems to just be very much lost. Maybe he lost his bearings and forgot about the plan that the universe had for him, that he was supposed to be a migratory species. Maybe he decided to become more a resident species, but there was a black stork around. We also had some springbok here yesterday, so hopefully we'll get the little springbok back again. As you can see, it is very dry, not much food out there, lots of elephant activity. Got all the elephant dung scattered all over the place, all these little pathways coming down to this waterhole. Generally, you can tell how active a waterhole is by the vegetation surrounding the waterhole. So as you can see here, it's very flat, lots of pathways, lots of movement, lots of dung. So you can see this is a very popular spot for animals to come down for a morning drink. Obviously, in Namibia, there are not very many places with the water available for the animals. So any spot that any waterhole, any drinking waterhole areas are normally quite active and quite busy. I've done a few trips to Namibia, and yes, it is quite a dry place. Oh, there's our black stork. I do think he's a bit of a confused specimen, this stork. So normally these storks would be migrating through, moving down to southern Africa at this time of year, and then they migrate. So they are a Palearctic migrant, so they'll migrate further up north to Asia and Europe for their breeding season. But this stork seems confused. Alrighty, well, let's go head across to South Africa, see what's happening at Tau Lodge. We are currently here in Madikwe Game Reserve at Tau Lodge, and we've got some waterbuck, and there's our crocodile friend. I'm very surprised that these crocodiles have decided to hang around in this pan because there's not much water left. Also, this vegetation, this thick reeded vegetation in the waterhole is taking over as the water levels recede. There seems to be more and more vegetation growing, which means these crocodiles' habitat is shrinking a tad. So nice big male waterbuck here. So 2 big males and a few females. I think I've seen a kill of crocodiles taking a young waterbuck here at Tau. Lots of activity at this camera. I think if there's one camera I would leave playing all day, I mean, I know Lentore and Oldonio are a fan favorite amongst a lot of our viewers, but here at this waterhole at Tau, there's also lots happening at this location. What else can we see out there? So talking about lots happening at our locations, I've been checking up on the Africam Instagram page, and there's some quite interesting activity going on there the last couple of weeks since I've been away. So if you have a look, there were some lion cubs that came to have a drink at Lentore about 2 days ago. One lioness with about 5 or 6 lion cubs. Got some really nice close-up photos of these lion cubs. There was also an interesting sighting of a heron. I'm not sure what location it was at, but there was a heron. Oh, looks like we've got a striated heron here as we're talking about herons. There was a grey heron that made a kill. It was on the 26th of October. Again, I'm not sure which location, but quite cool to see a grey heron killing a frog. There's lots of anticipation, and all of a sudden he caught this frog. I don't know how he managed to swallow it. It was a very large frog. And over at Tembe Elephant Park, there's an elephant bull that had a very itchy belly. He was busy scratching away at that belly of his on a termite mound. Those are just a few of the rather interesting sightings that I've noted from the last couple of weeks on the Instagram for Africam. There's also a Halloween creature video that they posted 5 days ago. Rather entertaining to see all these unusual Halloween it's just creepy videos at night of creatures out and about doing their thing. So that was about 5 days ago that they posted that. So if you want to get some updates on what's happening at these locations, you can go and check out the Africam Instagram page, and you can see all the comings and goings of these creatures. So talking about holidays and Halloween, so Halloween began about 2,000 years ago with an ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, so marking the end of the harvest and the start of the winter when people believed the spirits of the dead returned. So later the church created All Saint Days on November 1st, making October 1st All Halloween's Eve, which became Halloween. So the Irish and Scottish immigrants brought it to America, which eventually it evolved into quite a fun, spooky celebration of costumes, trick-or-treats, and of course rather creepy creatures like this male crocodile. Isn't it unusual, these crocodiles, that they have been able to live on this planet for millions of years? So we've got a question coming through from Official Castrots, is asking, how do you differentiate male and female waterbuck? So the females are a lot smaller than the males, and of course males do have horns, whereas females are absent in their horns. Male waterbucks also have a much thicker neck than the females. Got a comment from Susie in Cape Town. Susie says, hi Kerry, welcome back to South Africa after your stint in the Mara. You did a fabulous job. Thank you so much, Susie. I had the best time in the Mara. Some incredible sightings, definitely a once in a lifetime experience. I'm super grateful to Wild Earth for sending me, so thank you everyone for also enjoying and watching our incredible sightings. Timothy is there. I see he's been quite busy with the Sand River Pride. They had the Sand River Lions yesterday. He's been out and about exploring some elephants this morning. Hopefully Timothy will also be able to find the one crocodile that we have in Kewa area. So because the Sand River and a lot of the river systems in the Mara are very shallow at this time of year, we don't get an abundance of crocodiles like we do here at Tau. So now when all the most crocodiles I've seen here at Tau is normally about four of them. I'm sure there's at least 2 females, because before I left for Kenya, it must have been September, there was lots of crocodile mating activity going on here at Tau. Mercedes Beans says, greetings Wild Earth crew and chatters, happy wet waterhole Wednesday. Yes, Mercedes Bean, we have started here at a waterhole and we will carry on searching all of our wet waterholes for the afternoon. And notice how this waterbuck is not phased at all, that there is a crocodile lying just a few inches from its face. But I mean, this crocodile with these shallow waters doesn't have much of a chance at being successful in a hunt. Melanistic Marble, thanks for your comment. So Melanistic Marble says, there was a white-tailed mongoose snacking on frogs at Oldonyo. Ooh, thank you, Melanistic Marble. I haven't seen that video yet. I guess you must have been watching the the stream live. I didn't see that on the Africam highlights, but that sounds rather interesting to see a mongoose snacking on frogs. You don't really see much mongoose activity around, so it's always lovely to see these little crepuscular nocturnal creatures. So Official Castros is asking, what is the relationship between crocodiles and waterbuck? So Official Castros, waterbuck are a good food source for crocodiles. But as I mentioned earlier, so see, have a look, they do share a habitat in the regards of that, the waterbuck in these dry seasons. I don't think they've had any rain at Tau, so it is very dry. There's not much food out there for these poor guys. So they'll come down and feed on a lot of the grass or reeds and vegetation close to the water. But I mean, some of the bigger individuals might be too big for these crocodiles to take down, but I have seen them taking a young waterbuck. So talking about Oldonyo, why don't we head over to Oldonyo in Kenya, see what's happening in Kenya. So it seems like we have another quiet day over in Oldonyo. We have a warthog, or two. There was two warthog here, coming for a little bit of a drink, cooling off after a hot day in the African sun. We didn't have any elephants yesterday, and I know it's always lovely to see these elephants, these massive creatures, but I do like seeing all the other little creatures that come into the waterholes when there's no elephants around. So Polly says, this guy has such a long mane. Yes, Polly, it's interesting how this is a female, a little female warthog, and she does have a rather long mane. Kind of gets tinted at the end, so a little bit more brownish in color near the end. But yeah, so different areas, warthogs will have different length manes. I find in areas that are quite thick, lots of thick vegetation, just like with lions, the more thick vegetation there is, the more their manes kind of get thinned out as they get caught on branches and vegetation. But yeah, this warthog, she does have a rather long mane. So J Loco says this warthog actually looks very pretty. So yes, J Loco, she does. She looks like she's had highlights or bit of a tinting to the tips of her mane there. So interesting, I've seen warthogs. I used to work in Zululand, and of course in Zululand, I don't know if any of our South Africans watching today know Jozini, Lake Jozini. So I used to work on the Lake Jozini, and in that area you've got this very deep dark red soil, and the warthogs there look like they'd just stepped off of a set of Jersey Shore or Geordie Shore, because they were very red, tanned red color because of the red soil. And going in and out of their burrows. They looked like they had a fake spray tan, and their manes were very long and also very light in color. So it looks like they had that typical bleached white peroxide manes, and then this very red spray tan skin. I always used to have a bit of a chuckle to myself. It's rather unusual looking warthogs. Whereas this warthog soil type is probably very dark here. So most warthogs' natural skin color should actually just be natural grey. Oh look, you can see there's a bit of fluff even on the back of this warthog's back. Probably very good genes. Allow it to grow so much fur. Hello little guy. Little girl. seems a bit apprehensive to have a mud bath. So warthogs do need to be very cautious, because when they are wallowing around having a mud bath, they are not very in tune with their senses. So that would be a good time for a predator to sneak up onto these warthogs and make a kill. Talking about predators making a kill, I was watching, was it David, and he was mentioning one of his kills that he had, hunt and kills over in the Mara, with the Topi boys, where they took down this sick old hippo. My goodness, those Topi boys in the Mara are such specialized hippo and buffalo hunters. It's incredible the amount of big prey that those Topi boys can take down. So talking about Kenya, I have managed to get a total on my list of birds for Kenya. So I had seen at least 51 lifers during my time in Kenya, and I'm still fighting with Excel to complete my birding list for Kenya. I'm convinced that guides were never supposed to be behind computers. So it seems like everything just likes to just go completely AWOL the minute a guide touches it. I know our cam ops say the same thing. They're like, it was working perfectly fine. Why is it not working now? So as soon as I manage to fight with Excel to complete my birding list, I will definitely share that number. But I'm pretty sure I'm close to 200 birds that I saw during my time in Kenya. There's a few birds here in Oldonyo, though, that I did not see over in the Masai Mara. So it's amazing how in different parts of Kenya you can see completely different bird species. I mean, Kenya has a total of over 1,200 bird species, which is incredible for such a small country. Considering South Africa, most regions of South Africa, I think the total bird list count for South Africa is not more than 850. But most locations I've worked in have only ever had between 650 to 750, maybe 800 bird species maximum. And South Africa is much larger than Kenya. So it's just amazing that Kenya has such an incredible diversity of habitats which allow for all these bird species to live within such a small country. Hey girl. Oh, she is loving that mud puddle, isn't she? It seems like this female warthog's companion has left her alone. I thought there was another warthog around, but it's a dangerous world out there for a warthog on their own, so it's very much in their best interest that they stay in their little group. So normally you'll have males, can have solitary male warthogs living on their own, but females generally form these small little collections, whereby you'll have 2 or 3 female warthog together. Alrighty folks, well let's go and check out one of our other locations as our warthog leaves us, and let's see what's happening at Founders Lodge. Have a look what we have here. We have some giraffe that have come down for their mid-morning drink at the waterhole. Nice big male giraffe here who looks like he's got 2 little ox-picker friends that are very kindly removing him his parasites. And then looks like, oh, actually it's 2 males. So there's another male just off to the right. I was just talking about red soil, and if you have a look here in the Founders Lodge in the Eastern Cape, they also have this very dark red soil. As I mentioned in Zululand, also in South Africa, the different regions within the country obviously have different compounds and different makeups of the soil. And that's quite interesting how then you might think that if it's your first time on a safari in Africa and you go to different regions within the country, you might think, oh, well, we saw warthog or buffalo or maybe even rhino that looked redder or lighter in color in certain regions or darker. It can all depend on the soil, especially these large-bodied mammals that spend a lot of time mud bathing. So we have a question about crocodiles from Ollie Verch, who's asking, how do crocodiles mate? And Ollie, you're welcome. I really enjoyed showing you those the Black Rock Pride and all the cubs and the Sand River Pride. It was great getting to meet all those lions over in the Masai Mara. But Ollie, so basically how crocodiles mate, the courtship display. So males are attracted to females that might have a deep bellow call. That's how they catch the attention of the males. The males will then start head slapping on the water and blowing bubbles. So they can be quite territorial, these males, during the breeding season, which is normally, depending on the area, I find it can be between September and November, the incubation period. So then when the female is then receptive, the pair will engage in a very gentle rubbing and nuzzling before they start mating in the water. It's quite an awkward sight, I must say. If you were watching over Tau, I think we had a few days where we saw crocodiles mating for quite long periods of time. They mate in the water, so you can imagine it's quite difficult for the male to mount the female. But generally mating will last a few minutes, but I think it's more trying to get the right position in very slippery, muddy water that is quite difficult for these crocodiles. The same as hippos, quite an awkward thing for them to do. Alright, we're going to link back across to the Serengeti, see what else is happening out there. Talking about large-bodied mammals who like to mud bath. Looks like we've got a buffalo who's living his best life in this nice little pool of water. And he's got an oxpecker sitting right on his head. I hope that oxpecker doesn't defecate on this buffalo's head. Would not be a very polite thing to do. So Sanjeev Roy, thank you for your comment. Sanjeev mentioned that I should put on my bucket list to visit the Eli orphanage at Tsavo. So yes, Sanjeev, I always wanted to go to Amboseli and Tsavo. So lots of parts of Kenya still need to travel. So I'll definitely put that on my list. Thank you so much, Sanjeev, for that suggestion.
Oh, yes, there's a leopard. I've got a leopard here. My name is Cedric, and behind the camera with me we've got Muscles and Paul. Well, it is Feline Friday. What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus. Yaku! And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
Every week, the wilderness delivers.
And that's why we're here.
Drama, chaos, crimes, humour. All moments you'll never forget. We've counted them down, argued about them, and finally picked the very best. From rare sightings to classic bush showdowns, this is nature's weekly highlight reel. Sharp facts, bad jokes, and the wildest top 5 you'll see this side of the savannah. It's not just a show, it's a Wild Bush Week.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member.
You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every Safari Live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
Stunning. So yes, Safari Cat, if you are going to Kenya, I know obviously a lot of our viewers have been to Kenya, but if you want to go to an incredible little birding spot, Kakamega Forest apparently is incredible. And of course you'll get some forest species, maybe like colobus monkeys, that you would not see in other parts of Kenya. And then of course where I was in the southeastern part of Kenya at Nkewa camp, we did see 2 dik-diks, but that was very rare sightings because normally the dik-diks occur more further up north. So your dik-diks, your black leopard, as well as your reticulated giraffe occur further up north in Kenya. So it's amazing how you can drive just 50 kilometers north and you almost have a completely different habitat with completely different species occurring within these areas. Talking about flies and maggots, shameless poor buffalo, he looks like he's really getting bothered by these flies today. And there's a superb starling just running around at the edge of this waterhole. So this buffalo will probably sit in this muddy puddle for most of the day, urinating and defecating in this puddle. And it's interesting how he'll also drink the water from this puddle that he's been piddling in all day. They're not too fussy, buffalo. But as a solitary buffalo bull, which it looks like he's on his own, he needs to be very cautious and wary of predators around, because he could also get taken at this waterhole by some hungry lions. So as we were mentioning holiday seasons earlier, I'd love to hear from our viewers what your favorite Christmas food is. I know Christmas is coming, and my favorite Christmas food is probably going to be some of the desserts, your mince pies or Christmas cake with Woolworths custard is to die for. Just saying, it is amazing. Woolworths has this incredible custard here in South Africa. So Woolworths is a food chain we have in South Africa, and they do this vanilla bean custard, which over some Christmas cake is just the most amazing thing. So I'd love to hear from our viewers what your favorite Christmas treat is. Do you enjoy the more sweet things like the roasts and the cooked chicken and turkeys and all those rather what part of a Christmas meal is your favorite meal? So yes, Christmas cake, folks. Sorry if you don't know what Christmas cake is. Christmas cake is like a fruit cake. Part of our family tradition is my grandmother. She makes her own Christmas cakes from scratch, or fruit cake, and my goodness, the amount of sugar and fruit and nuts and everything that goes into those, it's a whole day affair. She spends sometimes 2 days making every member of the family or every household of the family a fruit cake or a Christmas cake. So really delicious. But I'd love to hear from our viewers what your favorite Christmas food is, or if you have any Christmas traditions. This buffalo over Christmas will probably be doing the exact same thing that he's doing right now. Piddling in a puddle, have a drink, enjoy the cool water, go and munch over here, munch over there, avoid being eaten by lions. Just another day in the African bush. Shame. On my last day in Kenya, we saw a very old buffalo bull. He did not look too chuffed. Alrighty folks, well, while we're in the area, let's head across to Old Onyo, see what's happening in Kenya. Well, looks like we finally have some elephants visiting the waterhole here at Old Onyo. It's been the first elephant that I've seen for a while. We haven't had many elephants coming through here recently, or from yesterday and today. She got a comment from Ollie Verch, says his favorite Christmas food is ham and chicken. Yes, ham and pineapple is quite delicious, but ham and chicken is always great. A good duck, slowly cooked over a long period of time. Oh, it's just lovely to have good food, spend time with your family, and have a good laugh. Maybe play some rather strange Christmas games too. It's always a good laugh at Christmas time. So Eric has sent through a comment saying your favorite Christmas food is turkey and malva pudding, or trifle, or truffle, as well as leg of lamb. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this word. Okay, I'll give it a bash. Skap bond. Sorry, my Afrikaans, if that is Afrikaans, is not great. Apparently leg of lamb is Eric's favorite Christmas food. Now we also have another comment from Marula Shortcake, says they die for turkey and gravy with crispy potatoes. Oh, nothing better than a crispy, spicy, maybe rosemary potato on Christmas. Oh, and the salads. I love all the salads. They're great. All that good Christmas food. I hope everyone is exercising and running and working off the weight that you're going to put on over Christmas season. That's all what January is all about, I guess. Paying for your sins of the Christmas season. Ooh. So we've got another comment from Milakstrand. Says that's wonderful. I make Christmas cake too, with marzipan, loads of homemade canned fruits and chopped nuts. It's always special. So Milakstrand, congratulations for making your own fruit cake or Christmas cake. It's not an easy thing to do. So my grandmother normally makes Christmas cakes in September, and then you need to have at least 2 to 3 months of course, feeding these Christmas cakes with brandy. So normally when I get my Christmas cake, it's every week you need to give it a tot of its brandy shot per week. So by the time Christmas comes, that Christmas cake is rather ripe. Talking about rather ripe, look at this elephant bull. He looks like he is in must. He's got some secretions from his temporal gland there. Got another comment from Tanuriso. Says we used to cook big meals, not anything. We braai on Christmas. Christmas Eve with desserts and relax on Christmas Day. That sounds great. I think it's nice to, you can end up spending the whole day in the kitchen, so it is quite nice to the day before Christmas. You prepare everything, so on Christmas Day you just also have a cold meal. It's also lovely, so you just spend time with each other instead of cooking the whole day. Again, nothing that this zebra has to worry about. Animals don't really celebrate holidays. Well, that we think of. I'm convinced. A few days before I left Kenya, I'm convinced there was an early Christmas party happening somewhere because it rained and all the animals disappeared. Alrighty folks, we're going to head across to one of our other locations, see what else is happening out there today. Alrighty, so this is a new location for me. We're over in Pilanesberg National Park, and we've got little 2 terrapins. My goodness, I didn't see. There's actually a second terrapin there. Talking about mating crocodiles, these could be terrapins mating, although I have seen terrapins just fighting for sunny spots like this too. Maybe it's just more comfortable to sit on top of your nearest little friend that's next to you. Or maybe he's also absorbing heat from below, because this terrapin on top looks quite wet, like he's just come out of the water. So maybe it was warmer to sit on top of his friend. But again, they could be mating. I don't think this is going to be a very successful mating process, if that is the case. So Mr. Elemental sent through a comment: ham off the bone with gravy, and your mom makes a fruit ice cream cake. It's very hot. For over Christmas, I guess. So Mr. Elemental, a fruit ice cream cake sounds delicious. And we've got another comment from Harrioli. That comment: roast gammon and trifle make with Woolies brandy cream. Ooh, that sounds great. I know Woolies does do some very good sauces and just food in general, especially pre-made food. Lots of good pre-made food that you can go out and buy during Christmas. But it is always nice when you've made things from scratch. My mother used to make a giant ice cream cake. So you take a big bowl, melt chocolate, and then you put chocolate lined in the bowl, and then you put your ice cream in top, and then whatever else you want, your fruit, your little chocolate chips or cookies inside, and then it sets as a hard, solid, almost like a shell, just like these little terrapins shell. And then you flip it over, and you've got this nice outer hard chocolate crust and nice chocolate inside. Have a look at this little terrapin. You can see their very sharp little claws on their feet there. Just wondering what they are up to, these two terrapin. So these terrapins do like to live in fresh water, although you can find them in quite brackish, dark water. They are different from turtles, so unlike sea turtles that live in the ocean, these tortoises, or turtles, terrapins, the tortoises are mostly based on land. Terrapins are semi-aquatic species which spend both time in the water and on land. So I have seen these terrapins quite far from water sources before, so they can move quite a distance in order to get to their next little watering spot. Although, do not pick a terrapin up if you ever see one. I'm sure they'll find, and they'll definitely get to their next water spot, because their defense mechanism is they like to urinate on you, and it does not smell pleasant, I can tell you that. So basically these terrapins are quite small. Normally they'll measure anything between about 15 and 30 centimeters in length, and the females lay eggs on land in little sandy or muddy banks. These eggs will then, the little hatchlings, will very instinctively head to the closest water spot that they can find. Generally, these terrapins, they will feed, they're omnivorous, so they will feed on aquatic plants, but they'll also eat insects, small fish, crustaceans, and snails. That's what you can see those very formidable little claws are useful for. So Jive Bunny says beef Wellington yummy. Jive Bunny, if you want a good beef Wellington, I can tell you Mabulla makes very good beef Wellingtons. So Robert Davies has sent through a comment. Really enjoy gammon and turkey. Used to enjoy Lion's Christmas cake, but diabetes put that to rest, I guess. But yes, sounds delicious, your Lion's Christmas cake. Jive Bunny sent through another comment. Cold leftovers with pickles the next day. So yes, Jive Bunny, Christmas leftovers are great, especially if they last for a few days. Then you know you don't have to cook and prepare anything for quite a while after. These terrapins are not so fussy though. They don't need Christmas cake or gammon hand and potatoes. They'll be happy with some insects and reeds and maybe crustaceans. So Richard has sent through a comment. Good morning, Richard. Thank you for joining us. Richard greets the Wild Earth team and says, "Hi, Kerry. Everything you saying sounds delicious, but the South African bush will be the ultimate present for me. Apparently you have not yet experienced it except on TV." So Richard, I hope that you will one day come to Africa and you can experience not just the African bush, but also the incredible cuisine that is offered in every different country. We do like our food in Africa. So if you would like to come and travel to Africa, Richard, please head across to our Wild Earth travel website, which has recently been worked on. It's looking very bright and colorful. So you can book your next African adventure with us here at Wild Earth Travel and go on safari with one of your favorite naturalist guides. We've got some more comments coming through here. Tanora Sao says definitely gammon, also favorite. Last year apparently you had cold meats and salads and desserts, and this year you'll be having a braai, peppermint tart, chocolate ganache cake and Christmas cake. Ooh, that sounds rather delicious. Lots of cakes, lots of desserts. I like it. Mercedes Bean also says you like yams, sweet potatoes, if they're made right. Very good. Alrighty folks, these terrapin are not being very entertaining, so let's head across to Serengeti, see what's happening in another part of Africa. So we've got a buffalo, and there is a red-billed oxpecker that unfortunately looks like he is digging away at an old wound or an injury on this poor buffalo. Look at these flies. Oof, shame. Poor buffalo. So especially if the buffalo bull has got wounds. Alright, sorry, we just spoke about food, folks, so I think let's head up across to Tower Lodge and see what's happening there. Alrighty, so let's see what's going to happen with this elephant. So during the dry season, these elephants, they'll be rather desperate to come and get food in any types of places they can, especially if it's green. So this elephant is probably trying to get some of this nice green vegetation here in the water, and yeah, interesting that they don't actually get stuck in the mud, these elephants. Although sometimes, little baby elephants do get stuck in the mud. So in some cases then you do have reserve teams that might intervene and assist. The elephants get very traumatized and very stressed when this does happen. The whole herd comes in and they're all trying to get the little elephants out of the mud. So we actually had one day here at Tau where there was a baby zebra. Oh, shame. There's a baby zebra that got stuck in the mud. But thank goodness the reserve team came to the rescue and they managed to yank this baby zebra out of the mud. And before the end of Live at the Waterhole, we actually watched the zebra reuniting with the rest of its herd. So that was a very special day. Very special day. So thank you very much to the team here at Tau. For One Madikwe Game Reserve. They work very hard to keep these animals safe. It looks like we've got 2 elephant bulls just roaming around and some wildebeest in the distance. Seems like there was a lot of birding activity here at Tau today. I know we've got probably some spoonbills, African spoonbills at the shore's edge there, some white-faced whistling ducks. We had our striated heron earlier. Oh, white-faced whistling ducks, maybe some Egyptian geese. Oh, I think there's also a yellow-billed stork, if I'm not mistaken, on the left. Just love birding. You can spend hours birding. Oh, and we've got something small, hummerkop. Could be a hummerkop at the bottom right side of the screen. So these marshy, very thick marshy wetland areas are perfect for water birds. I did miss my water birds at Kenya. Obviously the only place around in Kewa that we see a lot of water birds is maybe on the Sand River, but there's not a lot of thick vegetation. So we, besides a few plovers and some lapwings, maybe some sandpipers, I did see a common ringed plover, which was quite exciting. But yeah, besides that, there was not much water bird activity. There's elephants coming for a nice mud bath, cooling himself down with that nice wet mud. Looks like we got, could be an, African crake, and either a wagtail that's just flown in, an impala, male impala that's come to say hello for the afternoon. Shame, that poor buffalo. Oof. And our oxpecker. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it does happen out there in nature. I think we're lucky most times we don't see it. But on hippos, you can see the oxpeckers. They really pick away at the hippos when they have open cuts and wounds, which is not a bad thing. It keeps their wounds clean and parasite free, but sometimes they have injuries that these oxpeckers just keep going, and then it ends up irritating them a bit, keeping their wounds open and preventing them from healing. Our white-faced whistling duck and some blacksmith lapwings. Reeds also provides home to lots of interesting little creatures, dragonflies, or interesting lava fish as well, which attracts all of these wading birds. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so 1 yellow-billed stork, 1 African spoonbill, and probably quite a variety, or quite a large number of white-faced whistling ducks. This African spoonbill is grooming himself for the morning. It's very important with these birds that they keep themselves as clean as possible. They need those feathers of theirs to be in the best condition in order for them to fly. So that's why birds, except vultures, and if you see vultures grooming themselves, but I feel like vultures just groom themselves a very bare minimum. But most other birds will spend a lot of time grooming. Oh, there's some yellow-billed ducks. It could be one yellow-billed duck, and I think there might be 2 teals. Wow, check how many ducks we have here. We have white-faced whistling ducks, a yellow-billed duck, and possibly 2 teals. Jive bunny, yes. Look at all of these birds. Isn't this special? So I know this waterhole is maybe not the most productive place at the moment for our crocodiles, but the water birds are extremely successful in this pan here. They're really enjoying this incredible water. There's some ducks on the right hand side dabbling away. Some of our white-faced whistling ducks look like they're having a nap. Just tucking their heads away in the back of their wing there. What a lovely scene. I do love sitting and watching ducks for some reason. They're very calming. They are a very calming bird. Very graceful. So ducks can live in lots of different habitats, freshwater, saltwater, wetlands, across the world. It's incredible how adaptable they are. Oh, and oh my goodness, we also have a knob-billed duck. I thought there was a strange, unusual bird. So have a look here, folks. We've got white-faced whistling ducks. We've got teals. I think it's Cape teals on the right. We've got one yellow-billed duck, and we have a knob-billed duck. So that's 4 different duck species all in this one frame, and we've got our African spoonbill. It's probably the most amount of ducks I've seen in the same place. Not just on Live at the Waterhole, probably like ever. Wow, it's rather exciting. So this must be a female knob-billed duck, because she didn't seem to have a very big knob on the tip of her bill. So obviously with the knob-billed ducks, the males have these very prominent, large, little or large knobs on the end of their bill there. Oh, our spoonbill is bathing. Which become enlarged during the breeding season. Normally your knob-billed ducks occur in pairs, but maybe this female lost her partner. That's why she's just hanging out with other duck species here at the pan. Oh, look at our African spoonbill having a bath. See how the spoonbill's wetting his wings? Alrighty folks, let's head across to Olifants River and see what's happening at one of our other locations in South Africa. My goodness, talking about birds, look at all these marabou storks we got here. And I think we've got one hooded vulture on the right hand side of the screen. Rather interesting to see so many marabou storks all together. They're obviously also coming down for their mid-morning drink on the Olifants River. Such long legs, such very awkward and unusual birds, these marabou storks. Rather strange. There must have been a kill somewhere close by that they've all moved in from. So Tanura Sao has sent through a comment. Love watching birds. Yes, I do love watching birds. It's very, very peaceful, very calming. It's very interesting to see their different kinds of behavior, different interactions they'll have with each other. And I do love ducks while they're filter feeding, just watching them as they're going about their day, just as these marabou storks are. So I find vultures and birds of prey and like your marabou storks, after they've had a very good feed, they generally come down to the closest water source available. Obviously, if they have eaten well, lots of meat will make them very thirsty. So they'll come down to the nearest water source for a good drink, and sometimes maybe to clean their feathers, clean their wings, have a bit of a feather grooming session before they take off for the rest of their day. Interesting that there's one hooded vulture. I'm sure there might be some other vulture species sitting somewhere close by. So I do love these marabou storks. They're known as the undertaker bird. They have that very interesting bald pink head, dark cloaks, and very long legs. Their heads, the reason that they're bald is to help them stay clean, especially when feeding at a carcass site. But that doesn't make them look like the most appealing creature out there, and I guess there's a reason he's one of the ugly five. Because they look like they've been out in the sun way too long, they've got quite sun-damaged skin, and they've got these tiny little hairs that stick out of their heads. So they do have a little bit of hair, feathers, but yeah, shame they don't have the most beautiful looking faces. So they have those throat pouches, very large pink air sacs. One of their throat just underneath their throat there, especially in the males, they generally tend to be larger and pinker in color. It's thought to be known to provide some sort of thermoregulation, especially when they're flying up at extreme heights in the sky, and of course could be some purpose for mating the males to attract the females. So they'll often spread their wings out in the sun, not necessarily to fly, but to cool themselves down. Alrighty, well, let's head back across to Founder's Lodge, see what's happening in the Eastern Cape. Ooh, look what we have here, folks. We have a rhino that has just come down to the waterhole for a drink. Maybe he'll also have some mud bath. This looks like a nice warm day in the Eastern Cape. Perfect time for a rhino to have a bit of a mud bath. Oh, he looks rather thirsty. So have a look at those very wide lips of these white rhino. Predominantly an adaptation that they have because they feed on grass in these very open grassland areas. And of course, white rhino.
I'm Ralph, and I'm taking you to Sibuya Game Reserve, which is one of the only game reserves in Southern Africa accessed only by boat. We'll stay at the luxury forest camp overlooking the Kariga River with an abundance of bird life and animals grazing on the opposite bank. Luxury tented suites set in a riverine forest offers the perfect place for privacy and comfort. Join me on Sibuya and let's experience it together.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
The bush, full of beauty, wonder, and absolute chaos. And now, all that madness has its own show. It's called a Wild Bush Week. The countdown of the most outrageous, heart-stopping, and sometimes downright ridiculous wildlife moments of the week. Lions throwing their weight around. Hyenas gate-crashing the buffet. Leopards doing, well, leopardy things. Each week, it's a fresh reel of safari gold. A mix of drama,
She's just got an impala, everybody.
danger, and a healthy dose of laughter. So, if you fancy a highlight show with bite, and I don't mean just the animals, tune in to a Wild Bush Week. You bring the tea, and we'll bring the tusks, tails, and teeth.
In the Eastern Cape, on those days when you have the clouds building like that, it feels like it could be quite humid over at Mantis Founders Lodge. Perfect time for Rhino to find a nice cool spot to rest. What's interesting about the name rhinoceros, it comes from the Greek word meaning rhino, which is nose, and ceros, which means horn. So the name refers to its horn, the nosed horn. Hey, the little juvenile Egyptian goose. Alrighty folks, well, let's go and see what's happening in the Serengeti. Looks like we've got our same little favorite agama friend that we saw yesterday. This guy is quite a showman. He was showing off his impressive color to us yesterday. So this is one of the agamas, and he can also be commonly called the Spider-Man agama, or also known as the red-headed rock agama, or the Spider-Man lizard, because of his very interesting red and blue colors. So this is a male, and this is his territory most likely, and he's trying to attract some females. So the females are not as vividly brightly colored as the males. Females are normally a little bit of a duller brownish or gray color with very faint patterns, and the males can vary in color from a very striking orange, a red head, and of course their blue body, to a slightly less red, more orange color. So they can be bright red, but also more of a darker orange. And the male's color does change with their mood. So if they are mating males, they might be very bright. If they're feeling aggressive or hot, they get brighter. But if they're cool and they're relaxed, then their color might become a bit lighter. Look at those little arms of his. So they'll engage in a display for the females, most agama species, where it looks like they're doing push-ups to try and impress the females that might be in the area. This guy seems quite lonely. He was here alone by himself yesterday, so maybe he doesn't have any females in his territory just yet. In the diet of these agamas, they'll mostly feed on insects, ants, beetles, termites, any little creeping, crawling critters that might walk past him. Makes for a perfect meal. And they are a diurnal species. They're mostly more active during the day, and you can always find them sun basking on the rocks. They are specialized in sun tanning. They like to get their vitamin D. Struggling to get a focus here, hey little guy. These bright red colors. So we did used to see these red-headed rock agamas around in Kewa. It was one of the only kind of common lizard species we did see. So they do occur across Kenya, as well as into the Rift Valley and parts of Tanzania. It's very common to see them on these rocky outcrops. We had a hummerkop here yesterday. I don't know where he's disappeared to. So especially during the nesting season, hummerkops can be quite territorial. Normally hang out in the same spots. And I really do pray that this little agama of ours does survive and he finds a female. We had an agama lizard, also a tree agama, over in Old Donyo that a few months ago I thought he'd been eaten by a little lizard buzzard, because there was a lizard buzzard that swooped down in the spot that our lizard normally hung out in, and then since that day I never saw our tree agama again. But apparently he is alive, he is well, he's still at the Old Donyo, so glad that he has survived another day. So these agamas do need to be careful and on the lookout of birds of prey. They will be preyed on by medium birds of prey. Lots of predators out there that like to snack on an agama. And even if a serval or a caracal comes across a little agama, brown hyena also eat the strangest things. They will definitely munch away on a little lizard like this. Although those girdled lizards that we see over in Stony Point in Cape Town, if I was any predator, I don't think I would like to eat a girdled lizard. They've got so many little spikes and spines on their bodies. It would not be the most pleasant creature to feed on. Very prickly and spiky. So have a look, you can see his little ear coverts on the side of his head here. So lizards don't have conventional ears like us humans do. Oop, is he going to make a kill? Some dragonflies were just flying around his head. Yeah, so they don't have conventional ears like us humans do. They just have these tiny little ear openings on the sides of their heads. Very unusual long little claws as well. It's amazing how he doesn't overheat. So it's incredible how all these little creatures have adapted to surviving in different environments and with different climates. Some of these lizards, you can find them all day out on the rocks, whereas if us humans went and lay out on a rock, I think after 3 or 4 hours you would be cooked if you carried on staying on a hot rock after 3 or 4 hours, whereas these lizards, that's their happy place. You get some giant tree agamas in southern Africa. Huge creatures. You can hear them when they're moving around on the bark. So lizards are quite a diverse family. There's over 7,000 different lizard species worldwide. And it's amazing how adaptable they are to different habitats. They can occur in any region from deserts to rainforests. Like the barking gecko, I'd love to see a barking gecko in Namibia. I don't know if any of our viewers have ever seen a barking gecko in Namibia. Mostly call late hours of the afternoon. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Safari Lodge, see what's happening in Zimbabwe, seeing as our lizard agama has left us. Oh, sorry, I meant we came across to Namibia here, Safari Hook, not Safari Lodge. So we are in Namibia, not Victoria Falls. And we have a big male elephant that looks like he's chipped and broken his tusks quite a lot. Look at those short tusks of his. So Darkman Lover, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us, and it is a pleasure to be with you this afternoon or this morning on live at the Waterhole. Always interesting to just sit and spend some time watching these animals. I was chatting to some guides in Kenya the other day about Africam and telling them they need to watch Africam and follow Africam on their Instagram page and watch Live at the Waterhole with Wild Earth, because it's incredible the things that are captured on these cameras when animals don't know we are watching them. And for me, I think that's the best. It's non-invasive. We're not disturbing them in any way. We're not making any noise. They're just animals out there doing their thing, and it's amazing what behavior has been captured from these cameras. Picasso, thank you for your question. Picasso's asking, hi Kerry, do animals get sleepy? So Picasso, yes, animals do get very sleepy. In fact, this elephant bull right now looks rather sleepy to me. So they do get tired, they do get sleepy. Animals do all have different periods that they need to sleep. I mean, elephants only sleep for probably about 3 to 4 hours within a 24-hour period. But they'll stand under a tree for an hour and rest a little bit, and then move on and carry on feeding, and then stand and rest a little bit at a watering hole. So they don't necessarily sleep solidly for that 3 to 4 hours. And a big elephant bull like this, it is quite difficult for them to lie down. If big elephant bulls do want to lie down, they'll generally lie propped up against a termite mound, or maybe a big tree or a stump or a ridge, so that it's easier for them to get up. It's quite awkward for these elephants to get up when they're lying down on their side, and they can't always lie down for more than 35 to 45 minutes, because especially in elephants, their body weight starts to compress their lungs and makes it difficult for them to breathe. So baby elephants I've seen lying down and sleeping very well for hours, but big elephants like this, those massive bodies of theirs, it does make it quite difficult to lie down. Dark Mane Lover, you are most welcome. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We also have a comment from Wendy H. Hello Kerry, have I missed much from a beautiful day in PE? Hello Wendy H, and thank you for joining us. I am currently in Johannesburg, and so far, what have we had on Live at the Waterhole? We've had lots of good birding over at Tau. It's a duck paradise over there at the moment. We also had a little red-headed rock agama over in the Serengeti. We had a buffalo bull. We've had some more elephants over in Eldonyo. We've had a warthog in Eldonyo. So yeah, day filled of mud wallowing creatures. But yeah, thank you for joining us, Wendy H. Currently sitting in Safari Hook here in Namibia, watching this big elephant bull having a drink, and I'm noticing he looks like he needs a pedicure. Probably like I need after my trip to Kenya. I think I should take this elephant and we should go for a pedicure together. Just have a look on his right foot there. His toenail is not looking so great. Shame, these elephants, they do cover extreme distances. Their feet do take a bit of a toll. And here in Namibia, I find the elephants' body sizes are a lot smaller than elephants, for example, in Tembe. Or they have big bodies but very small tusks. And the reason that their tusks could be small and very chipped and broken like this individual is, one, because obviously it's very hot and dry in Namibia, which then dries out their tusks and makes their tusks crack very easily. And of course these elephants do, you can see in the surrounding area there's small shrubby bushes, but there's not much food. So then if the elephant's tusks are already dry and cracked, when they do try to pry away bark from a tree or feed on vegetation, then their tusks do break quite easily. So Jive Bunny, thank you for your comment. Wendy H, you are just joining us. So I asked our viewers earlier what's your favorite Christmas food. So I'm sending this question out to Wendy and anyone else that has just joined us. We were talking about holidays, festive seasons, Halloween, Christmas, and I would love to know what your favorite Christmas food is. I said my favorite Christmas food was a Christmas cake or fruit cake with Woolworths vanilla custard. Ooh, it is amazing stuff. And I do love a good mince pie. Mince pie is also great. The salads, we had lots of comments coming through about, of course, pork roast, gammon ham, those delicious crispy potatoes, roasted potatoes with gravy, trifle. So many delicious foods coming up over the festive period. I feel like I need to fast for a month before Christmas comes this year because it's going to be a great one. Look at this elephant. Hello, big boy. Shame he looks like a solitary male by himself. He's probably traveled for quite a distance to get here today to have a drink of water. It's interesting if you see elephants, if they're having a mud bath, I notice they'll often clean out their trunks. So if they've been sucking up muddy water to splash themselves, before they then drink water, they will often clean out their trunks first so that they drink the cleanest water possible. So special, these elephants. So on the live drives at the moment, we've got our black stork. Hello. So on the live drives at the moment, I know obviously we have Timothy, who's replaced me over in Nkewa. So big welcome to Timothy. And then we have Ralph and Eric, who've just gotten back. So welcome to them as well on the safari scene. Noticed we had lots of elephant activity this morning. I know Eric loves sitting with his elephants. Timothy also found a herd of elephants, and it's so nice to find elephants. I mean, in Kenya, I don't think I had one problem with elephants. They're all very calm and relaxed, those elephants over in Kenya, which is lovely to see. Always a great sign. So Cat Fan has sent through a comment about her favorite Christmas food is either a lasagna or a chicken biryani. Greetings, Cat Fan. Thank you for joining us and also for letting us know what your favorite Christmas food is. Oh, yeah, delicious. So many different Christmas foods out there that one can prepare. I know lots of families will go all out with the potatoes. They'll have 3 different potato salads, potato bakes, roasted potatoes, baby potatoes with rosemary. It's just potato heaven. So lots of carbohydrates also to be consumed. If you are a big Christmas food eater, definitely a lot of delicious foods out there to prepare. So Picasso, thank you for your question. Picasso is asking, how do desert elephants prevent their nails from overgrowing? So interesting you say that, Picasso. I've never seen a desert elephant, and again, it's not a separate subspecies. My father refers to it as desert adapted elephants. And these desert adapted elephants do have very long nails because they spend most of their time in the sand, so their nails don't often wear down. So it is interesting how their nails are much longer and quite awkwardly shaped compared to our elephants in southern Africa that do spend a lot of time walking on very hard soil and ground that thus wear down their nails. So that's probably why this elephant here looks like he needs a bit of a TLC in his nails there. Look how awkward those nails are. It does look very prehistoric, elephant feet, especially the front feet. It does look like some dinosaur creature from millions of years ago. So we've got another comment from Computer Enthusiast. Says a prime rib dinner is your favorite Christmas meal. It sounds delicious, Computer Enthusiast. And Wendy H has sent through a comment. Thank you, Kerry. My family and I love homemade Christmas cake, turkey, ham, and roast potatoes. So it sounds like a delicious meal, Wendy H. I do make a very good roasted duck. I know it is quite intimidating to think of cooking a duck, but there's some great recipes out there, and it can be quite a delicious meat. So lots to prepare, lots to make, but a good turkey can also make your day. So let's have a look at these elephant toes. Oh my goodness, look at those toes. So there's the little unusual toe that I mentioned, the toenail that looks like something is going on there. It's interesting with savanna elephants. So if you see here, with your savanna elephants, they've got 4 toenails in the front and 3 toenails at the back. And with forest elephants, I think they have 3 toenails at the front and 2 toenails at the back, if I'm not mistaken. It's very similar to Asian elephants. Asian elephants have 5 toenails in the front and 4 toenails at the back. Carrying these elephants across these incredible savannas. Imagine we could plug into this elephant's mind and see what he has seen over the last many years. Okay, so I'm just having a look here. So Asian elephants is similar to forest elephants. So your savanna bush, as I mentioned here, it's 3 toenails on the front, 4 toenails on the front, 3 in the back. And forest elephants and Asian elephants are very similar. So forest elephants and Asian elephants have 5 toenails in the front and 4 toenails at the back. It's a good way to tell the difference between the different species. Rather unusual adaptation. You can see they've much rounder, big rounded feet in elephants in the front, and that's because they're having to hold up so much weight, the weight of their skull, the weight of their head and their trunk, and then their feet at the back are a lot more oval shaped. So to me I always say it's like they have an Easter egg at the back and a cappuccino cup in the front. So very rounded in the front and very oval at the back. Another comment from Milas Krand has commented, "Good night everyone and thank you so much, Wild Earth. Apparently you love a roasted duck." So Milas Krand, thank you for joining us. And yes, roasted duck is quite delicious. It's prepared well. I know it can sometimes turn out quite dry, but it's quite a delicious meal. Interesting, the foot structure of these elephants, and they absorb a lot of the infrasonic communication through their feet. So their toenails, hey big boy, those toenails of theirs cover a very soft cushion-like pad. And that is what helps them to absorb this massive weight as well as the shock. So it's almost like a built-in sneaker that these elephants are wearing on their feet. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Old Donyo, see what's happening at one of our other locations. Oh, hello. We have a Grant's gazelle here over in Old Donyo. Quite an impressive male Grant's gazelle. Look at those long horns of his. We have another comment from Moonlight at Midnight. Says, "Hi Kerry, Christmas cake is your favorite or fruit cake? Apparently you have made 3. One for yourself, one for your daughter and your bestie. Well done for making your own Christmas cakes or fruit cakes yourself, Moonlight at Midnight. I know it is quite a chore. Definitely takes quite some time. And I see you have made your Christmas cakes the traditional way with a splash of brandy every week." Yes, my grandmother is very meticulous about the brandy. It needs to be on the same day every week and needs to be completely coated over the cake. So yeah, delicious food that is available to us. It's probably just a solitary male Grant's gazelle. You do get males that normally hang out by themselves. It's lovely to see Grant's gazelle for the first time in Kenya. I've not seen Grant's gazelles before. Oop. Got our go-away bird calling there. So Grant's gazelles and Thompson's gazelles are often seen hanging out together in the same herds, and it does benefit both species, mainly through safety as well as advantages of feeding. So you have a lot more safety in numbers, but they also complement each other's feeding habits. So Grant's gazelle Grant's and Thompson's gazelles have slightly different diets and feeding heights. So your Thompson's gazelles prefer the much shorter grass, much shorter and fresh grass, whereas your Grant's gazelle, they are also able to browse and feed on taller grass, leaves, as well as shrubs. So they don't compete for food with one another. And I did find quite often you'd find a herd of 10 to 15 Thompson's gazelles with maybe one male or one female Grant's gazelle. Grant's gazelle are much larger, so they do stick out a little bit, but I mean their coat color is similar enough that they can still hide themselves within a herd of Thompson's gazelles. So when a predator attacks a large mixed herd of these species, it is hard for the predator to single out one animal, but sometimes the chaos of many gazelles running in different directions does help both species to evade predators. Don't see these Grant's gazelle very often. I think this is only my second time seeing a Grant's gazelle in El Doño. Seems very distracted by something, or he's staring away into the distance. So both of these species of gazelles do live in open savannas as well as grassland habitats of East Africa, and they have similar daily routines. They feed in the mornings and evenings and generally rest during the day. It's during the heat of the day that's when they'll lie down and rest. So it is very natural for them to be associated with each other. Melanistic marble, yes, I'm very excited as well to see this Grant's gazelle. We don't see them very often in El Doño. And I'll say in Nkewa, where I was based, we also didn't see Grant's gazelle very often. I think I only did maybe 1 or 2 segments with Grant's gazelle while I was in Kenya, whereas Thompson gazelle, we had a few resident herds that didn't move too far. But I tell you, if you ever see a Grant's gazelle or a Thompson's gazelle running, you know that there could be a cheetah close by, because these Thompson's gazelles are one of the most speedy, fast little antelopes of the savannah. They can reach speeds of between 80 to 90 kilometers an hour. So generally they're not really concerned about lions, but if there's a cheetah around, cheetah can run from 90 to 110 kilometers an hour. So cheetah is a real predator for these antelope. But what helps the Thompson's gazelle is they're also very agile. So they're not only talented in being very quick, very fast, but they are very agile little antelope.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
Oh, she's gonna catch it!
Come on, Tommy! Watch this, we're about to see a kill.
You can see how close he is from where I am.
Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
So lovely to see so many zebra. I've never seen so many zebra before. Oh, isn't that a lovely photo? Alrighty folks, well, let's head across to Founders Lodge, see what's happening with our rhino, or if anyone else has popped into screen. Ooh, looks like we've got two rhinos here. It could be two male rhinos trying to have a bit of a fight with one another. A little bit of rhino action or activity to bring some excitement to our day. Just gonna quietly watch to see what takes place with these rhinos. Apparently one of the rhinos has a bit of an injury on its face. This can happen with these male rhinos when they're fighting with one another. I mean, they've still got their horns here in Founders Lodge, so they can cause very nasty injuries to one another when fighting. I mean, look at the tail posture of this rhino. See, the body language has completely changed since we saw him earlier. And generally with rhinos, that curled tail is either a sign of aggression or that they are running away if they are feeling stressed in any way. Just keeping quiet for a moment so we can see what is going to happen here with these rhinos. This rhino also looks like it's got a scar on its bottom there. Could have been stabbed by another rhino. Have a look at this one rhino with its bottom facing us. He's got quite a curly tail. So fights between these male rhinos can sometimes last quite a while. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, rhinos are very territorial. So maybe this rhino is not prepared to share his mud wallow. Oof, you can see the injury on this rhino here. Oof, it looks like quite a nasty stab there from another rhino. What's going to happen with these rhinos? So truly, in some cases, yes, rhinos have killed one another, territorial males. I don't think it happens very often, but I mean, fights can be quite violent, quite aggressive, but generally they just leave with a very nasty scars and a bruised ego, a few scratches here and there. But yeah, the rhinos can kill each other. And elephants sometimes get very intrigued when rhinos are fighting as well. So I know elephants have also been the cause of some rhinos being killed as well, because the elephants, maybe they're trying to stop the fighting and not promote violence, and somehow end up being a little bit too aggressive with the rhinos. So yeah, these rhinos, obviously territorial displaying here. Rhinos going. Last thing you want, imagine being stabbed in the eye by a rhino horn. This one individual on the left has a very sharp horn there. So this guy on the right needs to be quite careful, but shame, he already looks like he's been beaten and battered a little bit. So this will be competition for territory or mating rights. So fights also occur if males feel threatened by one another, or if they're encroaching each other's space, which is most likely the case. This rhino on the right was peacefully enjoying his mud puddle, and a stranger just came and disturbed his peaceful, quiet moment. So they'll charge at each other, these male rhinos, with their heads down, using their horns as weapons. So sometimes they might also wrestle with each other, almost like a wrestling with each other with their horns, if their horns are long enough. Oh, we've got our Egyptian geese that are not bothered at all by these rhinos, these giant beasts, having a battle. Generally, the serious injuries are quite rare with rhinos, because one rhino will always back away when he realizes he's bitten off more than what he can chew, which I think is going to be the case of this rhino on the right. I think he's going to have to leave the spot because he's no match for this new boy in town. Sometimes what will happen is these more subordinate or younger males get pushed out to the edges of a reserve or places that might not be prime territory, maybe don't have as good food, but if they're less dominant, then that means they are not able to be in the very productive and fruitful areas with water and food. So especially during the mating season, this is when fights happen. It's quite a tense moment watching these rhino. I do feel sorry for the rhino on the right. So Mr. Elemental, yes, the rhino on the left does have a much pointier horn, and looks like we've got another visitor to this little rhino fight. If it's going to be a 2-on-1 situation, I think this rhino on the right is definitely going to have to leave. I think the rhino on the left with the pointy horn is now showing off. He's digging in the sand. It's like swords. It's like they're sword fighting. Have a look at that. Oh, I would not want to be stabbed with a rhino horn. Imagine the damage that could cause. don't think this individual on the right is doing very well. I think he's going to have to back down soon. These rhinos with their incredible weight, over 2,000 kilograms, have a lot of weight to throw around. It's amazing when big mammals like this are fighting. Sometimes it feels like the earth is shaking. We were chatting about giraffe the other day, and how when giraffes start necking and the males start whacking each other with those mallet heads of theirs, it's almost like you can hear the vibration, you can feel the pounding, the beating that goes on between these giraffes. They can cause terrible injuries to each other. Saw a male giraffe the other day that looked like he had a hole in his shoulder, I think from an ossicone of another male. It's incredible the power and the force that these animals have. So Rudolph, good question. Generally fights between rhinos can be quite quick and normally don't take so long, but I mean, if one individual doesn't want to back down, then fights can go on for hours, but normally fights between rhinos are quite quick and explosive and normally just last a few minutes. But I mean, if your contender, your opponent, does not want to back down, then the fight shall go on until one individual backs down. And they could be fighting over the territory, but they could also be fighting over the females. Darkmane lover, this is such a privilege to be able to see these rhinos, especially interactions between rhinos. I must say, I don't think I've seen a rhino activity like this for a while. Normally white rhinos, they're sleeping, or if you're lucky you'll find them in a mud wallow, but you don't often see rhinos sparring with each other as we are currently watching here. I think this rhino that's furthest away from us with the pointy horn, I think he can smell the blood on this rhino closest to us. Maybe he's feeling sorry for him and we'll just let him have a peaceful day. That does seem like doesn't seem like a serious fight, but I'm convinced this other rhino can smell the blood on this guy's face, so that's why he's got a bit of sympathy. Oop, head on Egyptian geese just came and gave us a little bit of a selfie moment there. You can see the dust, very dramatic. The dust being kicked up by these rhinos. You have to be so intuitive with what your opponent is doing. You don't want to be caught off guard. Kind of watching for your opponent's movements, what they do, how they move. It's almost like these rhinos are having a bit of a very dramatic fight dancing. is like a cha-cha dance computer enthusiast. Although it's a deadly cha-cha dance, because if you make the wrong move, you could get a horn in your eyeball. Come on, guys, who's gonna back down from this fight? So Deb Davis, yes, both of these males are wearing tracking devices, and that is for their safety and protection in order to monitor and watch these individuals and keep a close eye on them. It's very good to see that they have trackers, especially because these males have not been recently dehorned, so you can see they too have very long horns. It's kind of like we're watching a sword fight going on here. I feel like this is a lot of what sword fighting entails, a lot of back and forward, a weapon in front of you. See the male with the longer horn now has had his tail curled. These two are not giving up their watering spot. I think they both want to have a mud wallow, but they don't want to share their space. It's like if you have two giant beasts that both want to use the sauna at the same time. It just doesn't work. It's one or the other. Sanjay Roy, yes, it is unusual. It's one step forward, two steps back, one step forward. It's like learning how to waltz almost. Or how to look at this male who's trying to act bigger than he is. Look. It's like, I am very big, you should be afraid. It's almost like learning how to waltz or how to socky if you're in South Africa. And if we have any viewers that know of any good socky spots in South Africa, please let me know. I'm dying to head across and do some socky, learning how to socky like these male rhinos. I'm sure they'd be good at soaking, although watch your toes. You don't want to get stepped on by a rhino. Oh, they're still going at each other. This is another male. There's just not enough space in this waterhole for all these males. Alrighty folks, let's head across to Stony Point over in Cape Town, see what's happening at the ocean. Isn't this a lovely scene that we have here? We've got some cormorants. And before we end the show today, I'd like to just have a bit of a quiet, peaceful moment since we're at Stony Point. No better place to just reconnect with ourselves, have a nice breathing, calm moment. So just take a few deep breaths in and out. We'll sit here quietly and watch this beautiful scenery. Just fill your lungs with some fresh air. Give your mind a bit of a break from the busy day, the busy week you've had ahead. And as you breathe in and out, just release any of the bad energy that you've accumulated of your day, of your week, and just focus on your breathing for a few moments. So special to be able to watch the ocean, listen to the waves crashing onto the sand. Taking a few quiet moments out of your busy week to just give back to yourself. Bringing some peace into your day, some clarity to your mind. Releasing all that tension, stress you might be carrying with you while we watch this lovely scenery. I'm imagining how special it would be to be walking on the ocean at the moment, having that feeling of sand between your toes, the wind in your hair, and feeling a light tinge of some sea water coming through the wind. Dark Main Lover, yes, Stony Point is a very special location. I just love the peacefulness and the quiet. Yeah, you've got the sound of the ocean and the sound of the waves, but it just brings some quiet and peace to your soul. Constant moving of the universe, you've got the wind in your face. Just a very special part of South Africa. Not seeing too much activity, can't see any hyraxes, but I'm sure they are out and about. Looks like a nice clear day in Cape Town, blue skies. Looks a little bit choppy, a bit windy. These white waves crashing and breaking. Constantly moving, bringing energy, bringing life. So much kelp in Cape Town as well. I believe some of the largest kelp forests in southern Africa are based just off the shores of Cape Town. Whoop, here's our Egyptian geese. Coming to say hello. I don't think they knew we were watching them. I wonder if there's any penguins out there today. Penguins are also very intriguing birds to watch. They can have some unusual behavior. Looks like it's very busy on the shoreline there. Lots of coastal birds flying up and down. I do love the kelp gulls and your grey-headed gulls. The sound they make is quite croaky, but it always reminds you of being close to the ocean. Got some cormorants here, taking a bit of a break from their morning endeavours. Probably spent fishing, looking for food. Stretching out their wings there. These rocks are perfect little sun basking, resting spots for these birds. It's amazing, they're incredibly skilled and talented in diving down and fishing underwater. These birds, incredible ability. Melanistic marble, yes, it does look like a lovely day to be in Cape Town. The sun is out, there's blue skies, a bit of wind, so it's not too hot, hopefully. Jive Bunny, thank you for joining us this Wednesday. It has been a lovely show here, live at the water. Still got a few more minutes, so who knows what we could find out there. Deb Davis, yes, this is lovely scenery, nice and peaceful and calm. I love listening to the ocean. So Harioli, thank you for your comment. Harioli says, Kerry, you make me want to take a drive now to Muizenberg Beach, Cape Town. That sea sound is calling. Oh, Harioli, yes, I do love the sound of the ocean. I'm planning a trip next year to Cape Town, doing a road trip with a friend of mine. I will be their Uber driver from Johannesburg all the way down to Cape Town. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the ocean. This ocean is very cold in Cape Town though, so I'm never really too drawn to swim, but I definitely will have to have a good swim. I've got some seagulls here. They're not grey-headed gulls or kelp gulls. I'm not too sure what these seagulls are. But they can be quite a nuisance on the beach, these seagulls, if you're enjoying a nice fish and chips on the ocean. That's always my tradition when I go to Cape Town. I've got family in Fishhook. Go down to the ocean with your fish and chips, but be careful these gulls don't come and snatch your nice fish and chips out of your hand. They are quite feisty little creatures. Do have to fight for every little morsel of food they get. They're like scavengers of the beach cleanup crew. So Darkmane Lover, thank you for joining us today. Darkmane Lover says thanks to the Wild Earth team, our Zoomies, as well as African for a fantastic show here live at the Waterhole. Do hope you have a lovely day as well, Darkmane Lover. Rather entertaining watching these seagulls get up to nonsense. I must say I do love those early morning walks on the beach. You get to see all the seagulls coming down and they're all fighting and feeding off whatever has washed up from the ocean, sometimes dead fish or interesting little aquatic life that gets washed up onto the beaches. These seagulls can be quite aggressive with fighting with one another and squawking away trying to get some food.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
The bush, full of beauty, wonder, and absolute chaos. And now, all that madness has its own show. It's called a Wild Bush Week. The countdown of the most outrageous, heart-stopping, and sometimes downright ridiculous wildlife moments of the week. Lions throwing their weight around. Hyenas gate-crashing the buffet. Leopards doing, well, leopardy things. Each week, it's a fresh reel of safari gold, a mix of drama,
She's just got an impala, everybody.
danger, and a healthy dose of laughter. So, if you fancy a highlight show with bite, and I don't mean just the animals, tune in to a Wild Bush Week. You bring the tea, and we'll bring the tusks, tails, and teeth.
And the bush hyrax was sitting on a rock. So I had that argument for Dominic, our guide at Nkewa, said, but if it's a bush hyrax, it's not supposed to be on a rock because then it will confuse people. But anyways, yeah, lovely to see our rock dassies or rock hyraxes here in Cape Town. It looks like he's just disappeared into his little hollow hole to go and rest up for the rest of the day. Mr. Elemental, thank you for joining us. Alrighty folks, well, not too much happening here in Stony Point, but we've had a few really good peaceful moments. Let's head across to Eldonio, see what's happening at our other locations. Ooh, looks like we've got another elephant bull that has come to join us here at Eldonio for our last few minutes on the show. And he also looks like he is in lust. Have a look at those temporal glands of his. Very wet, seeping lots of liquid, indicating to us that his hormone levels are elevated and he's possibly in search of a female. A very hot day, so greatest way, elephants, they cannot sweat like us humans. Best way for elephants to cool down, besides obviously flapping their ears, cooling down the blood in their ears and circulating cool blood throughout their bodies. Their ears do also create a bit of air movement, which does cool them down a little bit. But the best way is to go down to a water hole and splash their glands, so underneath, in between their legs, down their sides. Just helps to cool down their skin, cool down their bodies, especially on a hot day in the African bush. He doesn't look too phased, this elephant. He's completely hogging the water hole. Elephants can be very boisterous and big bullies at the water hole. Oh, he's got a hole in his ear. Dark main lover, yes, Eldonio is a very popular camera. Lots of interesting comings and goings at this location. And this elephant bull looks like a decent sized elephant bull. He's got a hole in the bottom part of his right ear, a very dominant feature that you can use to identify this bull if he ever comes back again. Seems like his trunk is a little bit too heavy for him today. He's was resting his trunk on his tusk. Alrighty folks, while our elephant bull disappears, let's head across to Tembe Elephant Park in South Africa, see what we can find. Ooh, looks like elephants are everywhere at the moment. Got lots of elephant bulls out and about. Talking about tatty ears, have a look at this elephant bull. He also has a very interesting cut out of his ear. Their ears can get damaged like this while moving through thick vegetation, especially in these sand forests of Tembe Elephant Park, very famously known for those white sand forests. Lots of acacia trees, which can cause quite nasty injuries to these elephants' ears, especially if they're running through the forest with haste, maybe fighting with other bulls. Alrighty folks, well, I just want to say a big thank you from myself and the rest of the Wild Earth crew for joining us today on Live at the Waterhole. I will also be joining you tomorrow on Live at the Waterhole, so don't forget to join us.